this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Chris with the C. Hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. RV6S BLX. Now, as you know, I absolutely adore this truck. Well, not this particular one, because as you can see, it isn't a truck at the moment. And in this big box of parts is said BLX Mojave 6S. Now, the good reason. We took the truck out to, it was a new BMX park up at the top of the valleys. It was all quiet, so I decided to get on the track, and basically the plan was originally to be quite sort of restrained and just enjoy riding around the track. Well, the Red Devil came in and the mist came in, and we decided to send the truck 20 foot into the air, and yeah, a lot of people had a great kick out of that because I nearly hit myself in the face.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
But in between all this happening, M2C reached out and asked me would I like to try out the Beefcake Kit for this truck. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the Beefcake Kit essentially is a bunch of hand-picked parts that M2C has put together to make any one of their trucks that they've got advertised on there tough, strong, durable. It's basically their choice of parts. And Avery sent it over. In between all that, what I've actually done though is I thought, right, if I'm going to put this to use, I may as well fully rebuild the truck to the way I want it. So I've been collecting in this box a bunch of spares, a bunch of parts, a bunch of new parts, some second hand because I've struggled to get certain parts as well. And we're going to utilise some of the older stuff, some of the older electrics. We're going to put all the new chassis parts and everything on. We've got a brand spanking new body over in the corner by here. That's going to be painted in a colour, which I'll show you further on in the video. And also just a few little tweaks here and there that I normally do to my 6S trucks that actually really do make a difference. Things like steering bearings and, you know, little things that really kind of help your truck to maneuver and be very, very quick in most situations. It's not going to be a tuning video. I'm not going to obviously go into differential tuning and all that jazz. It's more about the build, getting all the parts on the car, showcasing the parts, and actually putting the truck together. I hope you'll enjoy the video. I'm going to stop talking now. We'll dive down on the table. I'll show you everything I picked up for the truck, and we'll go from there. See you in a second. Right guys, so on the table is the contents of the M2C Beefcake Kit, and let's be honest, it is a fair bit. So I'm going to start from the top here. Obviously, we'll start off with the biggest piece. Now, all of this, all right, is either hardened steel or 7075 T6 aluminium. So really strong, really tough. It's all machined. None of it is pressed metal. So M2C make these parts. And they're all machined out of billet aluminium. Other than that, we have things like obviously the hinge pin holders, which are hardened steel. So from the top, you've got the 3210 Mojave chassis. This is 7075. As you can see, really nice piece of machining gone on here. Now, I do believe this actually fits the big rock and also the fire team. But that is the key to this build, is the chassis build, because what happens with these long wheelbase chassis is where you got the kick up here on the front, that's normally okay, but on the rear here is where you get like a stress point of the truck bending. And when I came down on the back of my Mojave, what had happened is all the stress went towards the rear and then broke the rear diff case, which in turn obviously broke all the gears. But this will hold all the bits, and the whole point is by the time you add the rest of it, it'll give you a nice strong platform with some triangulated strength towards the towers. So that is, as I say, the 3210. Moving on, we have got rear tower, I believe. Yep, rear shock tower. That's part number 3213. Again, really nicely made, machined, really nice, that is. I've had some M2C shock towers on my Notorious, and fair shout, they held up really nicely. You've got the front shock tower, along with, by the looks on things, the hinge pin holders. The part number of that is 3212. Again, really nicely made. We've then got the zero rebound shock system. So what this essentially is emulsion shock caps for your Arrma 6S, and they come with the different pistons, and obviously what this will allow is the suspension to be nice and plush. You've got a series of O-rings, obviously the shock pistons themselves, and then the shock caps with the bleed screws. Part number for that is 3480. Pillar ball retainers. Obviously we've done this with the Outcast 8S, so they're really good for obviously making sure the hubs stay in one place and the pillar balls don't pop out. And yeah, I've used them, they're good. What's next? We also have the center brace, sorry, front center brace, that is. What I like with M2C is they actually provide you with a drill bit as well, obviously for drilling into the chassis and securing it in one place. So it's good that they actually include that, because some people might not have that. I believe that's a titanium nitride coated drill bit as well. So part number for that is 3042. Then 3616 is the front hinge pin retainer and bumper mount. As you can see, they come with some hardened pins there as well. So what they actually do, guys, isn't just the hinge pin holders. They actually provide you with hardened hinge pins as well, which is really nice. Something to note this, as I say, by red Loctite is strongly advised. I probably will add some red Loctite. That's something I don't have, but we can also pick some up. Big standoffs, guys. As you can see, I believe these are 4mm thick. Part number is that is 3080. As I say, you won't have to pick up all these parts separately, guys. If you go ahead and buy the Beefcake Kit, all of this is actually included. 3043 is the rear brace, again with the mounting kit. We also have the rear wing or bumper holder, basically for the back of the truck, 3495, and that essentially mounts your bumper to the rear shock tower, and that is something I've actually broken as well on the truck right now. What else have we got? Front hinge pin, I believe. These are they the front? No, these are the rear, sorry. Again, with some hinge pins, so it's nice. Again, all machined. And the part number for that is, as I say, 3615. You also got this little tool for putting your hinge pins in. So I quite like these, actually, to be honest with you, because it takes out all the guesswork of when you're putting your hinge pins in, how far to actually put your driver in. And that is 3327. Nice little tool. It's something that I don't see many manufacturers doing, is actually providing you with the tooling for actually putting your truck back together. So that is a nice little addition. I quite appreciated that. Then we have 2 full sets of hardened hinge pins. I believe these are lower. Are these lower? It doesn't actually say, but I'm pretty sure these are lower hinge pins. Again, hardened steel. Then we have the steering Ackerman. Again, something that really will help out the steering of your truck is basically this Ackerman here. If you can imagine all the forces of your servo, you put a big strong servo in, you have a weak piece of aluminium in between, and when the car turns, and obviously you've got the pressure from, let's say, a 32 kilogram servo pressing against the wheels, and the wheels are fighting against the servo, that will actually keep everything in place nicely. So yeah, nice and strong and thick and less chance of breaking. Upgraded droop screws. Quite important, I suppose, for many people. I've never had problems with the stock ones, to be straight with you, but Avery assured me these were a good addition to the truck, so I am going to be installing those. Now, as you know, previously I did install the out drives on the rear of the Mojave. I snapped one when we were down at the Pill Centre, so I actually replaced them with these, and these were actually cheaper than the Arrma equivalent, and they're stronger and a little bit longer as well, so definite upgrade. Part number 3185. I've actually got another set of droop screws by there, so they've actually got two sets. We've got their upgraded out drive for the front or the rear. So a funny thing is, my rear out drive is actually very, very worn, so I will be adding that. And that is it for the M2C stuff. So I'm going to pause here 2 seconds. I'll now line up all the bits I've got to add from the stock parts, and we'll go from there. Right, okay, so on the table are a couple of bits I've actually picked up, guys. So we do have the input shaft cup sleeves. Both the front and the rear on my truck are torn to shreds with all the stones and stuff from, obviously, the Mojave's a ground basher and all the gravel's got in there and wore them away. So I have got 3 of them by there. We have another output shaft, so I'm going to put this on the front of the vehicle because the front gets less damage. So that is the stock part, ARA 310977. We've also, from Scorch, guys, I just picked up a few little accessories. So they're the rear mudguards, as you can see. We've also got some bearings for the Arrma. Sorry, steering. Now, let me just show you something quickly. Is the reason why I'm replacing these guys is because on the stock Arrma, instead of having bearings, so this is the front clip, obviously I've got to work on this, inside there is normally bushings. Now, as you know, bushings aren't, they will last a long time, but unfortunately they don't give you optimal steering. You can just see it poking out the bottom by here, so they will create a little bit of resistance. It will, but also will slow your steering down, and obviously we want fast responsive steering. So yeah, nice little upgrade there. Also for your Arrma, normally again they're bushings, but I've got a bearing kit there to go in there. Again, just keeping that steering flowing nice and fast and quick and easy. Replacement arms for the rear, and I've also got some replacement arms in the box with all the parts. Now this, guys, was actually the elusive part. Here in the UK at the moment, I cannot for the life of me find a brand new front skid plate. So shout out to my friend Arrma. He actually had one spare knocking about. As you can see, it is used a little bit, but it's a lot better condition. I wonder if I've sold... No, I have actually thrown it away. The original one that I've got had massive holes in the front where the truck was diving down and I was driving like an absolute idiot. So yeah, at least we've got a fresher part than what we actually had in the first place. Other than that, what I have got is a brand spanking new Mojave body here, which is there, guys. I'm not going to show you too much because, and I may as well show you right now the colours we're going to go with this truck. And I was looking through the internet. Is Core RC do this colour called Bullet Grey. So we're going to go Bullet Grey on the body, and then right the way through the truck we're going to back it off with black. So Bullet Grey is like this kind of metallic-y grey, and you've got 2 options here. You can either back it with a white, and obviously it'll give you a brighter silver, but I'm going to go with jet black on the rear, and just basically the rear of the car, sorry, the underneath of the car then will contrast with this colour and make it darker, like a metallic-y grey colour. Right, lots and lots of talking, lots of parts. The next step, I suppose, is to get everything on the desk and start building it. Right, okay guys, so as you can see, what I'm going to do is start splitting up the parts in sections, alright, just so I don't get mixed up and confused. I'm going to start off obviously with the base, with the chassis, and then I'm going to literally add them all in like modules, and that's the easiest way for me to go over this build. Now, as you can see, with the rear diff case here, I have had to completely rebuild this. I did this on a live stream. The reason being is I actually had a stress fracture going right the way up the diff case, going literally from the bottom of here all the way up to the top where the shock towers actually mount onto the diff case. So what I've done, I've actually using the GD4, the EXB diff cases in this truck. I had some brand spanking new crown and input gears there, so I've actually fitted them to the truck. I've shimmed in between the gearing so there's no backlash, and I've retuned the rear diff. And what I did have on the truck already was the M2C outdrives, as you can see here. These haven't let me down. They're nice and strong, and they actually have an extra mill to stop the drive shafts coming out, so it is quite good. On full compression of your arms, what happens is sometimes, especially with the 6S armors, where you got the little pins, the cross pins that go on the drive shaft like so, they have a tendency of popping out and then jamming against the edge of the outdrive cup here, and then you get a stress fracture going straight across the top, and then obviously the outdrive is knackered. So this is actually being rebuilt. I've got the hinge pin holder kit there, so I'm going to start adding them all in. I've got a brand new outdrive cup there again from M2C. I'm going to start adding the parts all together. We're going to need to add, I use this lithium grease. All it is a bike grease. I use this on all my builds. Essentially, it's like red and sticky from Lucas, but you're in the UK, to buy Lucas costs you an absolute fortune. So I've used this for a while. It's been really, really good. So I'm now going to put you on a time lapse. I'm going to start adding the parts on the car, and if I come across anything that confuses me or things you need to be alerted to in the process, I will stop the camera, let you guys know, and go from there. See you in a second. Right guys, okay, so as you can see, you've got the rear clip starting to come together now. Now, they come with these lock-in nuts. So basically they come with hinge pins, and you get little nylon washers to go behind these nuts here. Now, my logic tells me that these nylock nuts that they provide, so you got 2 sets of nylock nuts and 2 normal nuts here. So I would imagine that these nylock nuts are facing towards the center of the vehicle due to vibration, that sort of thing. You know, maybe I've got that wrong, I don't know, but that was my thinking. If I've got it wrong, let me know in the comments. I'm sure someone will anyway. I do like the M2C outdrive cup because it comes with a 2.5mm hex screw to get in and out, so that it obviously is a big improvement. You can get a lot more pressure down on the output shaft there. So the next step now really is grease up the gears, apply this obviously to the rear of the chassis, and then I think we're starting to head towards the centre, which should be easy enough. I've got no issues with that. The front's going to need some work because I do want to replace the gears in the front as well. As I'm adding the parts, if I come across anything, like I just said on this one, that was a finding. I couldn't find any information, but yeah, I'm thinking those nylock nuts are facing towards the centre of the chassis. But yeah, let's move on. Right, okay guys, so the back of the car is starting to come together now. As you can see, we have got the Beefcake shock towers in, we've got the hinge pin holders, brand new arms on, obviously M2C outdrive cups on the drive shaft side to the wheels, and obviously on the rear of the diff case. Diff has all been tuned. I've gone with stock fluids because that's how I run my trucks. GD4 Trial diff case inside, garage life bumpers, body spring. Yeah, it's definitely come together. Now, a lot of you will ask why I'm using a composite diff case, and the reason being is this. In the past, when I've used the machine diff cases, what I tend to find is when you go snapping a screw in a diff case, the issue you've got then is trying to get a hardened screw out of an alloy diff case, and 9 times out of 10 the alloy diff case is going to be the one that suffers. So through process of elimination, I actually prefer the composite. If they break, they're cheap and easy to fix. So yeah, that's just my trailer thought. Now, as you can see, I've got the shocks and everything out on the table. The plan is now, I have the hardened lower hinge pins, or the upper hinge pins, sorry, I should say. But I've also got the zero rebound shock kit there. So I'm going to find out now, because I don't actually know which colour is which. I know on the Outcast, I believe the white was the front. But I'm going to jump online. It does say, and that's one thing I will say, when you're purchasing the kit from them, it does actually state which shock piston to use. So, going to fit that to these shocks. I have only just serviced these, but with obviously fitting the pistons, I might have to obviously empty all the shock oil out, but we'll see now, because sometimes I've just taken the shock piston out from top and everything's been fine. I've had to reuse some parts. I thought I had some spare Mojave rear hubs. These ones have got a couple of little marks on them, so the car's not going to be all brand new. There are some parts that are going to be used from the previous truck then, should we call it, because obviously this is going to be essentially like, well, a new truck to me. The good thing is obviously while I'm doing this, I can obviously check through all the parts on the car and just make sure everything is in good condition, because the closer I went into diving into the truck when I was taking it apart, the more I realised how many parts I actually have damaged on the vehicle, which is surprising because I literally only just rebuilt that. So that little trip to BMX Park really did take its toll. Right. I know obviously there's a lot of time lapse in. This is a big build. If you want to, guys, you can skip through the video just to kind of go over that. If you're here for the ride, I'm quite happy obviously to keep on time lapsing for you. But yeah, let's keep going. Right, guys, audio is going to sound a little bit different because my microphone's died on me. Right, okay, just going through the shocks, and I've actually found out now that the black pistons, if you look on the M2C website, the black pistons are for the rear of the truck. So black in the rear. Obviously at this point you want to check over your shock oil, that sort of thing. What I tend to go by is, if you look, I don't think the camera's going to pick that up, but if you look on the top of the shock pistons, it gives you a number. So I normally put the number at the top, and there's a little slightly raised bit at the bottom. So I put the number at the top, that goes on, and then obviously tighten the shock down. Top tip, if you can, and you haven't got a set, get yourself a set of shock pliers. This stops any scoring on the shaft, any problems with the shock shafts itself. Or you can get yourself a pair of pliers and a towel. Just be really careful that you don't damage your shock shaft, because there's two things here. One, it'll slow down the movement of your shocks if it's roughed edged, or it may stop the shock movement up and down being so fluid, should we call it. So, you know, ease of use in the sense it goes up and down nice and easy. The other thing is you can induce some leaking from your shocks, because basically it might have, let's say, a scoring going right the way down the shock, and just little by little your shock oil is going to drip down the scored part. If you do have damaged shock shafts, my advice to you is definitely change them out, because you know your truck is only as good as how your suspension is set up. Now, definitely keep an eye on the way your shock shafts are. Check over the O-rings, check over your oil, that sort of thing. But as I say, black go in the rear, and then the white ones go in the front. Make sure you add the O-rings, because there's a little set of O-rings in the pack there. So you've got the smaller O-rings, they actually go around the shock piston, and then you've got the larger O-ring, and that actually sits on top of the shock itself. So yeah, basically just make sure you're adding all those on. Once you've done that, put your emulsion style shock cap on top. Make sure your shocks are topped off. give your shocks a pump up and down. I normally go with 20 pumps up and down. Is something I picked up from my Techno manual. And then there's a little bleed screw on top as well, just to release the air. Once that's done, the shocks will sort themselves out. But yeah, I hope that was informational for you. I'll see you in a second.
Sit back, watch me ball out. When I step in, bring the stars out. At my own pace, won't stall out. Made it to the top, now they all shout.
Right guys, okay, so I did rush the rear bumper on a little bit, and I'll explain why now. These rear mounts for the wing, what happens is obviously when the rear bumper is attached, you've got two 2.5mm screws going through the rear of the shock tower here. So if you actually look where the wing mount is on the back of the car here, you've got a separate piece obviously that goes on top. Now these, you have to drill, they actually give you the drill bit as well, mind. You have to drill through the plastic and then add a nut on the other side to give it a little bit more strength. The only way you can do that though is by having the rear bumper basically exposed. So the back end of the shock tower and everything is exposed. You're able to get a drill in there, and then you'll be able to guide yourself straight through the piece of plastic, and then obviously add the nylock nut on the other side. Few things obviously as I'm going through the build. It is a learning process obviously, and what I will try to say to you is maybe offer up the parts, because I'm going through it obviously just through memory, a lot of it, but obviously when you're adding modified parts onto a truck, they might be slightly different. Now technically what I've done is correct you by adding the screws into the rear of the bulkhead, but when it came to add this part, obviously I've now got to take the screws back out, drill through, add the nylock nut, and then go from there. So yeah, just keep an eye on what you're doing, and if you make a mistake, you know, don't turn your back on it. Go ahead and rectify it before it becomes a problem and you've got the whole car together. Guys, if you're enjoying the content here on ChriswithaC, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and yeah, enjoy more content that's coming up. It costs you nothing, it means the world to me. Right guys, I want to show you something I thought was really tricky. As you can see, first of all, I've got my hinge pins and holders. They're all installed at the bottom. We've got our zero rebound shock kit. That's all installed. I'm just waiting to do the front here. What else? We've got the big beefy shock towers. Now, the reason why I'm pointing here is because of obviously the chassis brace and also this rear mount. What a clever design they've gone with. Now, I haven't actually drilled the holes yet, but as you can see here and here, what they've actually provided is a drill bit, which is by there, and the idea is you go through the towers to actually mount this rear wing mount. So it's basically, essentially, you've got the triangulated strength from the chassis brace here, and that is then going to attach straight to the rear tower. What a clever idea, honestly. Big 4mm standoffs they've gone on, but one thing I am going to have to work out here is obviously you've got your chassis brace, so I am going to have to loosen it off, put a different screw in there, because they actually use these screws on the car, and yeah, I don't think that's going to fit in, because obviously as you can see each side there's no hole for it to go through. So I'm gonna go and find a different screw to attach the chassis brace, but it is definitely coming together. It looks rather trick. I'm loving some of the parts that are going on here. We've also got a massive pile of parts here that I need to carry on and go ahead and install. Shock towers, Arrma, what else we got in there? The front rebound kit, hinge pin braces, pillar ball retainers, front chassis brace, hinge pins, you name it, it's all there. New arms, but yeah, definitely coming together. Very happy with the way it's going on. Right, okay, so we are on the front clip now, guys. So we're heading towards actually getting all the car together now, so that's absolutely awesome. On the front, I have got a bunch of things I want to replace. We have in total, so we've got the zero rebound shock caps and the pistons. So obviously I'm going to fit those onto the vehicle. That's one thing. We've got the pivot ball holders for the 6S trucks, for, obviously with the Del rim pieces. Same thing I installed onto the Outcast, actually, the 8S. We have A and B blocks and hinge pins, captured hinge pins as well, guys, and obviously all the mounting kit. Front shock tower, obviously, and everything I need to install those. We have a new Arrma bar to obviously go in the steering, plus I've got some bearings and stuff like that to go in there. Front chassis brace. I also have some out drives to install, some new gearing for the front, obviously to just freshen up the gearing. What else have I got? 4mm shock standoffs. We've got new cover for the outdrive as well, so that's going to go on. Yeah, fair amount to do, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. So I know this is obviously a long video. Oh, by the way, refresh on the arms as well. I've got some new arms to put on. So I know it's a long video, but it will be worth it in the end, that I promise you. So thanks for being with us so far. I'm going to put you back onto time-lapse now, start tearing the car apart. And yeah, by the end of this, we should have the car on its wheels. So fingers crossed. Like I say, I've got a little bit of work to do on the steering, some bearings to replace and stuff like that. But yeah, it is going to be worth it by the end of it. Right, okay, so as you can see, everything is stripped down on the table now, guys. We're starting to get to the meat and potatoes of everything. What I want to do now is just dip into this diff case, make sure all the diff oils are good. It should be fine because I've had this front diff open twice lately. The gears actually feel fine and the resistance in the diff case feels fine. I'm going to make sure I give it all a good clean off. I have got the M2C... where are they to? We've got the M2C outdrives to put on. I have got them here somewhere, because I did have them earlier on. They are here somewhere. I can't find them a second. But the idea is now is basically we're just gonna... Is it by there? No. Oh, there you go. There they are. So we're now going to fit these on because these are actually slightly bigger than the standard ones. So that obviously will help with keeping the drive shafts good. I want to check over the gears because, to be honest with you, I've opened up inside the diff case here. And looking inside, all the teeth are actually good. And if I remember rightly, I replaced this recently. So if it doesn't need replacing, I'm not going to put new gears in it because, well, there's no need to. I want to clean it all up, add new grease, add the new outdrives, and then we're going to concentrate on the steering side of it and basically just change all the Arrma up and get everything all refreshed, new bearings, and yeah, and then start adding the parts back in. But getting quite tired now, so I'm going to get this done first, and then I'll probably take a break for today and then carry on with the rest then tomorrow. But yeah, it's very satisfying seeing the car coming back to life and with all these new parts. And this truck was a present off a friend of mine, and it's nice to actually go ahead and get this truck all sorted out. I will say this truck for me is probably my favorite 6S Arrma, without a doubt. I've had the most fun with the Mojave, absolutely nailing it around and basically just giving it hell. Now, I will say, to go this far is quite a big thing. You've got to be invested in a vehicle, that's for sure. But if you like something, you like something, and that's that. So, let's just open this up a second. Take the front of the diff case off. Gears are looking absolutely spot on, so there's no issues there. Let's have a look at the bearings. I'm using some metal diff cases. These are the GD4 gears. Everything is fine there. No broken teeth. And the pinion gear. Let's have a quick look. A little bit away. Nothing major. Looks all good to me. So, to be honest, what I'm going to do is just clean up the diff case. Change over the out drives. And then... saying that, I probably will need to, if I'm changing over the out drives, I will need to change the diff oil out on this. So it's 10k I normally use on the front of these trucks. Yeah, I'm going to continue going a second, and then we'll carry on. Right guys, so time is up for tonight, I think. I wanted to kind of get the front end where everything is on. As you can see, I do have the shock tower on now as well. The front hinge pin holder. We've got also the hardened hinge pins installed. The Arrma is all on as well, and obviously the rear. Gearbox is all refreshed and clean and new gears, everything's all sorted there. The droop screws from M2C there in. I put bearings in all of the steering arrangement. So yeah, quite a bit. Swapped out a bearing in the front as well. I mean, it's a mixture of new and old parts, this build. Mainly because to keep costs down for myself, but also to build the car with the parts, the M2C. So if I hadn't have had, let's say, the parts from M2C, I probably still will have built the car. But on the other hand, I might have gone different parts, maybe, in the sense of this is quite a substantial build. I'm a very lucky person to have been asked to put this on my car. Absolutely epic, honestly. Just, I mean, for a start, the thickness of the shock towers, I mean, I really can't see any problems with these now. If you compare them to, these are the stock ones here. It's night and day difference. Absolute night and day difference. So the parts we've got left over now for the front of the vehicle is the front chassis brace, the 4mm standoffs. I have got to put the pistons in, as you can see, and obviously the shock caps and everything else. Droop screws I've actually installed. Now, the funny thing is, these are for the Arrma 6S 5mm differentials, but it's the non-EXP differentials that have been sent over with this. So I am running EXP diffs, open, having said that, with a metal diff case. So the good thing is about this is I'm having my old Notorious back, so I will use these in refreshing the Notorious. Overall, everything's going great. Let's just walk to the other side of the workshop. As you can see, that's the rear end of the car. I do have the motor and the centre diff all in. Tomorrow now, I think this is definitely a case of just sewing the car all back together bit by bit. Now, the other thing is, in this bag here, a few other little bits that I need to add to the car. So we've got a front bumper skid, What was it? Mud guards, obviously there. I had to go with one newish arm and one older arm. The reason being, unfortunately, I did have one damaged arm. So yeah, quite an amount of damage came to the car just by chucking it over those ramps, and it really surprised me, to be honest with you. So as I've gone through the car, there's been a substantial amount that I've needed to repair. Now, on the other hand, if you're dead serious about a Mojave or a Big Rock or even the fire team, this kit is going to be absolutely outstanding. If you're an enthusiast, someone who's happy to build your vehicles, and you're looking for, well, basically the best of the best, well, you're looking at it, guys. M2C has definitely made a reputation for being very, very strong with their parts, and the design. Like I say, the one thing that I really liked was coming up with this design here. I thought that was absolutely really cool, to be honest with you. Anyway, I'm mumbling now. I am a tired boy. Time is getting on. I'm going to go and have a shower and have my dinner, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow.
I'm so tired, but also hungry.
A few moments later.
Good morning, guys. Right, okay, so we are heading towards the end of the build now. So as you can see, got the main part of the chassis all together, got the motor mount in, the motor. Obviously, yesterday we fitted the emulsion style shock caps, the zero rebound system pistons, shock tower, rear chassis brace, as I mentioned. I quite like that was trick. Obviously, especially with this extended part there. The C and D blocks, they're all in. Obviously, we've got it all mounted up to the chassis, as you can see. I am trying to add new hardware into the car as well, wherever applicable. And the front clip on there, we've done the, well, and the other thing I've actually done, and this is what's making the build a little bit longer. I've refreshed all the diffs. New diff oils, I've put new crown and input gears in, new outdrives as well, obviously from M2C. I've also worked on the bearings, on the steerings. We've added some bearings in on the bell crank and the Arrma. Now on the front here, we've got the M2C Arrma A and B blocks, pivot ball holders, shock towers. So the plan is now to sew up this front end. I've got the shocks which I need to work on, so that they need a rework now, and the zero rebound system fitting in. We've also got the front chassis brace, and I'm trying to think, actually there are a few other little bits and bobs I need to keep going with, and essentially just keep adding the parts onto the chassis now and get the car all back together. I hope you're enjoying the video. Like I say, I've tried to keep it where it's pretty quick between time lapses and stuff like that, so, and any information kind of pop up. I was really tired last night. I got out of the workshop around about 10 o'clock and I sat down, and honestly the rain came down. It's been absolutely boiling here. I've got probably a couple of hours in here because today we're due some really warm weather, and I don't want to be sat in here when the warm weather comes. So I'm going to start cracking on, put you back on a time lapse, and we'll go from there. I'll see you in a second. guys, welcome back. Okay, so Mojave, absolutely awesome the way it's starting to come out now. I will say very, very happy with the way the truck's looking. Now, things to mention on this are just some of the thought process have gone into the parts, and I really, really like what M2C have done. Especially there's key little bits all over the truck now that I think is absolutely epic, honestly. I really like the way the back end is now kind of strengthened up and toughened up. Honestly, this little key part here that joins the chassis brace takes away the plastic, so there's less kind of flex and movement in that sense, and then triangulates all the strength right the way down to the center of the chassis and then back out again here. Absolutely epic chassis, obviously. Now, as you noticed, what I'm going to be doing is splitting this video up, and there's good reason, and I will tell you in a second. But bouncing back to the parts, really like the fit and finish of it all. 4mm shock standoffs, big beefy towers. Obviously you've got the A, B, C and D blocks. Again, out drives. It loads of little key features that on the Beefcake kit. They're really going to kind of set this truck off. Now, I've decided not to finish the truck up in this video, and the reason being I am waiting for some parts to turn up. When I was taking the truck apart, I noticed a few bits were just not up to scratch. Now, one of the things was the battery tray. There is a slight crack in the battery tray here, and I did also break a battery strap, so I've jumped online, I've gone to a parts breaker. So what I've actually ordered for this now is the version 6 battery tray, which will go straight in. There'll be no issues at all, so the holes in the chassis will be absolutely fine. New receiver box, ESC, a motor. I might have a bit of a change up on that, so at the moment I am running the 8BL 150 G2 and obviously the 1780 motor. Now these motors are absolutely awesome. 4282 motor, plenty of punch, plenty of power. But I have got the Team Associated video coming up soon where I've got a full centered system that I'm going to be installing into that racing truggy, and I'm thinking the electrics in there are pretty much new. I've only run them a handful of times, so I'm thinking there's a 2000 kV motor that we can put into here, full hobby wing system. There's a brand new 8BL 150 G2 that I can literally fit straight in here. The other thing is, guys, I have now got to decide. Now, MKS, which is a manufacturer of racing servos, now these are top dog. When it comes to servos, there's companies out there that actually make proper racing servos. Okay, now what I mean is that there's full pedigree. They're coreless, brushless, digital servos, really fast response time, great sort of pounds per ounces and kilograms. Is I go off kilograms. Some people in America obviously will go pounds per ounce. I want to fit one of these into the Mojave because the Mojave is definitely one of my favourite ground trucks. Absolutely rips, and you know, to have that in there I think will really benefit the truck, especially with the way the truck handles. So I've got to decide. I've got a choice of 3. Excuse me. A choice of 3 that I'm going to use. So I'm going to basically work out which one, because we're going to put one in the Team Associated as well, and so on and so forth. I got mud guards I need to cut out, so obviously these need to be cut out and fitted properly. They're going to go on the rear. Now the other thing is, for the Eagle Eye gear, I've got a brand new handset that I'm going to put onto the truck as well. Now, as you know, I'm a big advocate for Radio Link, so Banggood reached out to me and asked me did I want to look at this handset, which is the new FlySky FSG11P handset, and protocol. Very fast response times, loads of key features that obviously some of you guys might want to have a look at. So I'm going to do the unboxing on this and then install it into the Mojave, as well as I am waiting for a few other trick bits to come back. But guys, let me just show you something. Now, I don't know if your camera would have picked that up. You probably just got a glimpse of that. I painted the body. so excited to show you. Guys, check it out. That is badass. I'm going to get this out on the table and do some pictures for you, because obviously you looking at it here will not do it any justice. The colour is what they call bullet grey, and I backed it with black, and I wanted to go for a kind of classy look to go with the build, because M2C was so kind and sent over all these awesome parts for the truck. I really wanted to go to town on this and kind of set it off. So it was brand spanking new body that I painted last night, put the stickers on, and yeah, she is looking epic. Still using my Method wheels. Really like these. Belted tyres work really well on the Mojave. Another thing is, I'm trying to think now, so obviously it's different handset, different receiver, different electrics, servo, we've got that covered. As I say, battery tray, receiver box, that's all going to be brand new. Oh, all the inside of the body here, actually I've actually put all the insides in the dishwasher. Cleaning up all the parts, making it all look nice. Like I said, the whole plan really with this truck was to utilize some of the older parts, and also then add in some absolutely epic new stuff. So this truck is literally going to be badass when it's done. I hope you enjoyed watching this so far. Honestly, it's been a pleasure recording it, and huge thank you to M2C, Avery and the gang for sponsoring these videos. And I'm going to split it up into part 2. In part 2 we'll install all the electrics. I'll talk you through why I've chosen the electrics and why we've gone with what we've gone with. I might possibly then do the first run in another video, or I might even do it at the end. Guys, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see at the end of the electrics install, because it won't be in this video, the first run. But overall, just so happy with the way the truck's coming out, honestly. Let me just get it back out. That is, if you're into your Mojaves, into your short course trucks, trophy trucks, that sort of thing, it is looking epic. As I say, links will be in the description to the Beefcake Kit, guys. All right. I know obviously us here in the UK, sometimes getting parts from America can be quite expensive, but there is outlets like Model Sport here in the UK that actually stock M2C, so if you want to go and get that kit, you can. Huge thank you to you guys for watching all the videos as well. All the like, shares and subscribes to go on the channel. Absolutely amazing, guys. Honestly, I really can't thank you enough. So humbled to have you all on board. If you like the video, give me a like. Like is, bang as many likes as you can on the video, because it lets the algorithm know that you guys are actually enjoying the video as well. So subscribe if you want to as well. Subscribe's always good. Let's think. Is there anything else I need to tell you? I don't think there is, guys. I really don't think there is. I'm going to wait now, obviously, for a few parts to turn up. The other thing I want to do, oh, there you go, is shoe goo. I don't use shoe goo. I use something called Sticks Like Shit. I want to strengthen the body, obviously, before we take it out, so I don't damage this absolutely gorgeous paint. I mean, very nice. As you can see, there's the black I backed it with. All core RC paints, which I'm starting to enjoy instead of the Tamiya stuff. But what a beautiful thing. Ackerman, there's so much that's gone on. Outdrive cups. I've done all the diffs. All the diffs are the diff housings inside, obviously they're all metal. I've gone with GD4 diffs right the way through it. We've got a metal diff case here. I wasn't particularly happy with the metal diff case because last time I ran it I actually got a stone caught in there, but I could, if I wanted to, actually polish that up, so I might do that. I don't know, let's see what happens. Huge thank you for watching the video, guys. Please check the box for more videos. If you like what you see, stay awesome. I'll catch you later.